Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the story that continues to go on and on and on. Look, I don't want to continue talking about this shit. It's pretty obvious Trump doesn't give a damn about this guy, and a hell of a lot of people in this country believe that Mr. Garcia is right where he belongs in a maximum security prison or wherever they have him stationed now down in El Salvador. Nevertheless, I'm going to bring this one to you because Trump, in effort to mark his first 100 days in office, went on ABC News and talked about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And even though we're not going to necessarily cover Mr. Garcia, I think it's important to pay attention to some of the things that Trump stated because they have wide-ranging implications that have probably nothing to do with Kilmar Abrego Garcia in the future, but could mean an issue to be worthy of discussion for you and I. But here is how he responded when he was asked whether or not he would adhere to the order from the Supreme Court that he brings Garcia back. Here you go.
Abrego Garcia. He's the Salvadoran man who crossed into this country illegally, but who is under a protective order that he not be sent back to El Salvador. Your government sent him back to El Salvador and acknowledged in court that was a mistake. And now the Supreme Court has upheld an order that you must return him facilitate his return to the United States. What are you doing to comply?
Well, the lawyer that said it was a mistake was here a long time, was not appointed by us, should not have said that, and just so you understand, the person that you're talking about, you're making this person sound, this is a MS-13 gang member, a tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay? This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands,
sir. He came into our country illegally.
You could get him back. There's a phone on this desk.
I could.
You could pick it up, and with all the power of the presidency, you could call up the president of El Salvador and say, send him back right now.
And if he were the gentleman that you say he is, I would do that.
Now, he is readily admitting that, yes, the Supreme Court ordered me to bring this guy back, but I was given a mandate by the people. I was elected to do a job. So he's indicating that the hell with the Supreme Court, because he follows up by making it clear he could actually do it. He could actually bring Garcia back home, but he believes the public elected him to do a job. So the hell with what the Supreme Court is telling him to do. Why am I bringing this up and stating this could have wide-ranging implications? Because who knows what the Supreme Court may tell him to do in the future that once again he don't think he deserves or better yet needs to follow. He is literally going against the Supreme Court when they stated he needs to facilitate bringing this guy back home, and now he's on television saying, yes, I could do it, but I'm not going to. Now, he does give reasons for why he's making that decision, such as Garcia being a member of MS-13, and then he also talks about what he claims is a beating of Garcia's wife and that she's afraid to talk about it. Now, I can only go so far down that path because a lot of what Trump is saying is similar to what I'm doing. He's speculating his ass off. Fact is, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was never charged with beating his wife up. Certainly not convicted of doing it. This is an allegation she made, and the police took it down in their pamphlets, or they wrote it down or whatever. They got a record of her allegation, but that's as far as it went. You know how many women make allegations domestic violence-wise against men in America, and nothing comes out of it? Or hell, you even got a lot of guys that have been charged and convicted of domestic violence that may have been totally fabricated by the woman. But in this case, he was not charged nor convicted with domestic violence, yet Trump is on TV accusing him of beating up his wife, just taking the side of the wife without any evidence beyond that. Surely he would not want the American public to just take the side of E. Jean Carroll when she claimed he raped her. But he has no problem doing that to somebody else. Just want to make sure you understand that. But last but not least, claiming that he is an MS-13 gang member, which a couple judges have also agreed that Albrego Garcia is a member of an MS-13 gang. And there seems to be a tad bit of validity, at least for making a point, because Garcia is in this country seeking asylum under the notion that he's running from gangs. Some folks have stated that, well, you wouldn't be running from a gang if you were not a gang member yourself, indicating that the very notion that you're running from a gang shows you must have been in there opposing gang, some other gang that they were adversarial with. I'm going to go a 6.5 dozen of the other, because just because you're running from the cartel does not mean you're a member of the cartel. And the cartel really is nothing more than a more well-established gang themselves. If you're running from the mafia, that doesn't mean you're in the mafia. The mafia is a gang as well. It's just a bunch of men that are organized to commit all sorts of crimes on behalf of the organization. So I don't know if I would agree that running from a gang makes you a gang member, but a lot of folks in this country do not like Mr. Garcia, and anything you attribute to him that's negative, they're going to believe it on face value. So he is kind of being treated as guilty until proven innocent. But I want you to see, or better yet, listen to Trump's definitive answer for why he believes this guy is a member of MS-13. Because some of this is worthy of noting.
He said he wasn't a member of a gang, and then they looked, and on his knuckles he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine.
No,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay,
we'll take a look.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that.
Why don't you just say yes, he does, and go on to something else?
It's contested. Ukraine.
Okay, here is the MS-13 markings that are on this man's hand, and Trump is really adamant that the interview is wrong in suggesting that that is some kind of overlay or that was imposed in the picture. Now, I'm just going to ask you folks, I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you're on. Does that really look like a tattoo? The letters MS-13, MS-13 on each one of his digits, does that really look like an actual tattoo? Or does it look like what the interview was stating, which is something that was superimposed on the picture, literally in perfect typewriter font? Now, you can clearly see the other graphics that are on his hands appear to be faded like tattoos often do. But nevertheless, the M, the S, the 1, and the 3 look like they have been just tattooed on his hand yesterday, in a font you will never see tattooed on anyone's hand. But let me know in the comments, do you agree with Trump that this guy clearly has MS-13 tattooed on his hand? Or do you find this, at least like I do, kind of laughable that anyone would look at this and believe that's really a tattoo? Let your boy know in the comments. As always, feel free to smash that like button, click the notification bell, and subscribe to the damn channel. See you in the next video.